Uchiha. Namikaze Uchiha Naruto. A 4-year-old boy was strolling through the forests of Konohagakure no Sato. His hair a mix of blonde and few strands of brown in it. He had long spiky hair, which seemed to reach up to his shoulders. 2 jaw-length bangs on each side, and on the front of his face, a bit of hair seemed to reach down to his right eye. He knew he was different. Different than the kids his age. While other kids would play in the park with other children and think of whether to play ninja tag or just run around, he would often think about life and death, or how the different shinobi villages were at each other's throats to prove themselves superior to the other. One may say any 4-year-old kid who thinks that way would need to consult a medic to verify whether her cognitive functions are right for their age or not. But Naruto knew there was nothing wrong with his brain functioning. It's just how he was raised. He was not sugar-coated about the horrors of the shinobi world unlike other kids. His Tuchan often told him stories about different shinobi villages and the stories of the wars when he asked him about it. His Tuchan. Namikaze Uchiha Minato. Yes, Naruto is the son of the great Yandame Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato. Naruto was a smart boy for his age. Although he did not like to boast about it, he believed he would probably be the smartest person in his age group when he joins the Shinobi Academy of the village when he's of age. It was not hard for him to notice how the people of the village hailed his father as a hero and scorned him for reasons he did not understand. Ever since he could understand the human language and went out of the house alone on the streets of Konoha, he would see people glaring at him. He would often hear people whispering words like demon, monster, Kyuubi, traitor, but he ignored it. No one did ever say those awful things to him to his face unless they would bring the wrath of a pissed-off Hokage and the Uchiha clan. Being the son of Yandame Hokage and grandson of Uchiha Madara has its merits, I suppose. Mused Naruto as he kept walking. Naruto was respected by the Uchiha clan. It was mainly because he had the blood of the strongest Uchiha running in his veins. Until recently, it was not a well-known fact to everyone that the current Hokage, Minato Namikaze, was an Uchiha. Not just any Uchiha, but the son of the legendary Uchiha Madara. The only ones who were aware of that fact were Jiraiya, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, Senju Tsunade, and the deceased Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Uchiha clan too were aware of Minato and Naruto's heritage. Even though Madara was considered a traitor in the village, no one could ever doubt Minato's loyalty. His deeds during the Third Great Shinobi War single-handedly won Konoha her victory. The Uchiha clan, who had become restless earlier since they felt their power was considerably decreasing in the village, calmed down as one of their own, even if the son of Uchiha Madara could become the leader of the village. Minato was different from some of the power-hungry fools in his clan. He had his pride, but was not overly arrogant to believe that he was invincible. Growing up an orphan since the age of 5 in the village had instilled a humbler nature in him, which he instilled in his son, Naruto, as well. As Naruto was walking aimlessly amidst the forest of Konohagakure no Sato, his thoughts then lingered to his mother. His dead mother. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. She was from a village known as Uzushiobakure no Sato. The Uzumaki were distantly related to the Senju clan, and both the clans are believed to have the same progenitor. Naruto was told that his mother passed away during the dreadful night when a monster called the Kyuubi no Yoko attacked the village. He was even more astonished to hear that it was the Sandaime Hokage and his father who defeated the nine-tailed fox. Although, it came at a high price as the Sandaime lost his life that night. It was during the attack that Minato was forced to reveal his Sharingan to the others, which he normally hid under an advanced Genjutsu. What Naruto did not know is that the very same Kyuubi no Yoko was sealed inside of him, as it is impossible to kill a Bijuu, a being made entirely of chakra. Let alone, the strongest of them all. Naruto may have had to grow up an orphan, had it not been for his Jichan. Naruto started calling Sarutobi with that informal name after listening to all the stories his father told him about the former Hokage. The Sandaime had used a Kenjutsu to seal the yang half of the nine-tailed fox inside baby Naruto just hours after he was born, while he sealed the yin half of the fox inside himself. It was Sarutobi's wish that Naruto grew up with a father standing by his side and becomes the beacon of light in the shroud of darkness that entraps humanity. Naruto suddenly stopped in his tracks as he realized he had been walking without a destination in his mind for quite some time now. He looked around to see where he exactly was and observed several ruined stone buildings around himself. It dawned on him that he must be quite far from his home because he didn't exactly know where he was right now. Ah, crap! I got lost again. I should stop wandering here and there without letting Tuchan know about it. He's not going to like it, thought Naruto as he sheepishly rubbed the back of his head. A trait he received from his father. He then noticed a gigantic tree with a half-visible symbol on it covered by several bushes growing near the tree. He went towards the tree and stood directly in front of it. He moved his hand towards it and removed the bushes covering the symbol he noticed earlier. What he found was quite astonishing. It was the symbol of Konohagakure no Sato. On its left and right side were the clan symbols of the Senju and the Uchiha respectively. He looked around, turning his head left and right to get a better view of the place he was standing on. There were several ruined stone buildings, few scattered kunai, katanas and the Senju and Uchiha clan symbols on each side of the tree respectively. He moved around the place a bit to see if his keen eyes could find something. And what he found was various scrap marks as well as burn marks on the trees which looked decades old. He came back to his earlier position, once again standing before the giant tree, as he came to the correct conclusion. Flashback. A 3-year-old Naruto was happily tucked under the comforts of his blanket in his bed by his Tuchan, Minato. Tuchan? I have a question, said an excited Naruto. Minato took a nearby chair and sat near his precious son and smiled, looking at him. Yes, Naru? Naruto always loved the nicknames his father gave him. He always had a tough time coming up with nicknames for people. So, he believed it took one a lot of time to come up with them, and he loved the fact that his father spends time thinking about him. Even though he had a sharp mind, he was still a child, and that's what Minato loved among the many things about him. He could show maturity and wisdom one second and the next second he would act his age of being a child. How was our village formed? What was here in this place before Konoha was built? Naruto asked, his face showing how excited he was to learn different things. Well, do you remember what I told you about my father and the Shodame Hokage of our village? Yes, Tuchan. Madara Sofu and Senju Hashirama belonged to the two noble clans, the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. And both were the leaders of their clan when they formed an alliance between themselves to form the first hidden village, which today is known as Konohagakure no Sato. Naruto said. Minato nodded and patted his head once affectionately to signify what he said was correct. Naruto puffed his chest to show how proud he was that he knew his village's history. So before Konoha was formed, it was a time where most clans fought with each other to gain more lands and resources for themselves. You know, during those times also there were people as wealthy as the daimyo. And these wealthy people hired shinobi from clans to do chores that their average workers were not capable of. Do you understand what I said so far? Minato asked. Naruto nodded and Minato continued to tell the tale. So one clan would target the wealthy person who was using shinobi from their rival clan. So, if the clan can take out that wealthy person, their rival clan will lose resources. That will bring their rival clan's status down. The Uchiha and Senju clan also fought over similar reasons. The place where our village stands today was the battlefield of many wars fought between those two clans. When the two clans formed an alliance, they decided to choose a place where both the clans have met, whether be in battle or in a meeting. So, does that answer your question, Naru? Minato asked as he finished telling the story in simpler words so Naruto could understand them easily. Yes, Tuchan. You are the best. Naruto told his father as he closed his eyes and tried to go to sleep. Sleep well, Naru. Minato said, kissing his son's forehead. Flashback end. This must have been one of the main areas of the fight between the Uchiha and the Senju before the village was formed, thought an excited Naruto. He then noticed there was some sort of annotation below the Konoha village symbol. He moved his hands below the symbol and just traced the note with his hand once. He moved his face closer to get a better look at it. On this day, the Senju and the Uchiha clan join hands with each other to form an alliance to build a better future for the coming generations to come. It was Madara's and my dream that one day we could stop the endless fighting that seems to have plagued this world. On this very land we stand on, our new home is going to be built. Kanahagakure no Sato. A village built on the foundation of will of fire. A place where young will not have to be sent for battles, where children will have a chance to live a normal childhood. Especially a home where parents will not have to bury their own children. It is my belief that one day the people of this world will look past each other's differences and look each other eye to eye. This my dream for the future. Hashirama Senju clan leader. Naruto was filled with awe upon reading the words written by the Shodai Hokage. While he was reflecting on the words of the former Hokage, he realized his grandfather Uchiha Madara was also mentioned in the annotation. He felt a bit sad that he never got to meet him. His father had told him a lot of things about his Sofu. Why did you have to leave me and Tuchan alone in the village Madara Sofu? I never got to spend time with you unlike Tuchan. Thought Naruto a bit deflated. Naruto looked up from his spot towards the sky and saw the sun was about to set. He gazed at the reddish sky for a while longer and closed his eyes and let the calm breeze flowing in the air graze his face. Suddenly, he felt someone touch his shoulders from behind and tensed a bit, thinking someone was attacking him. Naru? What are you doing so deep in the forests at this time? The person asked with concern. His father's voice calmed his nerves and he turned around and hugged his father, who was bending down on his legs to Naruto's eye level. Sorry, Tuchan. I kind of got lost on the road of life. Naruto smirked, seeing his father's eye twitch. Damn you, Kakashi. I will need to talk to you about this. Thought Minato. He looked at his son's eyes and softly said, I was concerned, Naru. I looked for you at home and grew worried not finding you there. Next time, you tell me, okay? Something could have happened to you, you know. Sorry, Tuchan. It won't happen again. Promise. Naruto said, looking down at his feet as he realized how worried his father might have become. His Tuchan was the closest person to him and he never wanted to hurt him. Come on now. It's all right. Good thing is, you are all right. It's a father job to worry about their child, you know. Minato said with a smile and ruffled his son's hair, gaining a goofy smile from him. Let's go home now. I will make us some dinner. What do you want to have tonight? Minato held Naruto's right hand in his left and started walking towards the village. Ramen, shouted the 4-year-old boy. Ha! Guess, me and Naruto did get our eating habits from Kushina. Minato thought with a small smile as he and Naruto were walking back home. Although there are many civilians and shinobi alike who dislike Naruto for what he carries, there are also those who absolutely cherish the young blonde boy. Kakashi Hatake, a former student of Minato who is now an ANBU agent. He is the son of the famed White Fang, Tsukumo Hatake. With his gravity-defying silver hair and the face mask which he always has on, many find him an odd fellow. Till today, it's a mystery to almost everyone about his facial features. His hidete is always pulled down to cover his left eye, containing a Sharingan eye. The unique jujutsu of the Uchiha clan was given to him by his former teammate and friend Obito Uchiha in his last moments, who died fighting during the Third Great Shinobi War. The exploits of the young shinobi during his ninja career were so impeccable that he earned himself the moniker of Sharingan no Kakashi. There are several more shinobis that are ANBU agent as well as normal jounin of the Leaf Village who have taken a liking to Naruto. Yugo and Kurenai were both students of Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. They all felt horrible when news of Kushina's untimely death during the Kyuubi's attack was revealed to the village. Hence, they often took time to visit baby Naruto when his father was busy. Makoto Uchiha, matriarch of the Uchiha clan, and Fugaku Uchiha, clan head of the Uchiha clan, who were close friends of Minato and Kushina since childhood, often visited baby Naruto along with their two sons Itachi and Sasuke. Makoto had taken a liking to little Naruto from the moment she laid eyes on him and often spent a lot of time with him and helped raise him whenever she could. Jiraiya of the Sannin, one of the 3 students of the late Sandaime Hokage and the sensei of Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. He gained the title of Sannin during the Second Great Shinobi War during his fight with Hanzo the Salamander, as a testimony of the battle prowess he showed. Even though he proclaims himself to be a super pervert and often considered by others as an idiot, he's by far the strongest of his 2 teammates, Senju Tsunade and Orochimaru. Among his many special attributes is his ability to harness nature chakra or senjutsu, thus making him a sage. Since he was taught senjutsu by the Toad Summons, he's widely known as Gamma Sannin. The 2 ramen chefs at the Ichiraku ramen store in Kanahagakure no Sato are among the nicest people Naruto could ever meet. He was first taken there on his 3rd birthday. Tuchi, a 50-year-old man, is the one who mainly runs the store, and his teenage daughter, Ayam, helps him around with the dishes and customers. The next day, Naruto and Minato were both sitting on the grassy field of their backyard in the Namikaze estate. The father and son duo sat under shade of a sakura tree, enjoying the calm breeze of the afternoon sun. Even though Minato's status as an Uchiha was now revealed, he did not wish to live in the Uchiha compound. He knew growing up in the Uchiha compound for Naruto might not be a good idea. Considering he is the son of the Hokage and his heritage, most of the clan members around him will start to have expectations of him to become something great and start placing him on a pedestal above an average child. Living out here with me, apart from the clan, at least his life will not become a competition of achievements. The council members of the Uchiha clan won't try anything idiotic as long as I'm here, Minato thought. He was brought out of his musings as he felt Naruto tap his hands. "Yes, Naru?" he asked. "Tuchan, I want to become a shinobi," Naruto said, looking at his feet. "Oh? Why do you want to, Naru?" he asked softly. I want to become strong like you. I want to live in a peaceful world. You told me there's so much hatred in this world. That people from other villages won't talk to us properly because they think we are a threat to them. I want to change that. I want everyone to stay happy. I don't want people to die anymore. I don't want you to die, Naruto said the last part in a whisper, still looking down at his feet. Minato was left speechless upon hearing his son's reasoning. He has witnessed a lot of things in his shinobi life, in which death of a shinobi took the upper rank. He looked at his son with calculating eyes, studying his posture. Naruto thought he must have said something wrong since his father wasn't replying to him. He looked at his father and saw him looking at him intently. He was about to speak something when his father beat him to it. "Naru, do you know why a shinobi fights? Why we shinobi kill each other? To protect someone close to us," Naruto said, remembering his father telling him that once. That is true. In this shinobi world, there is no right or wrong. Everyone in this world fights for something they think is right. Something which may seem right to you may look wrong to someone else. Do you understand, son? Minato asked. He could see his son was in deep thought, looking at his facial expression. His left eyebrow was raised slightly and both of his hands were folded over his chest. He's so much like me and Tu-san when we are deep in our thoughts, he thought with a bit of nostalgia. Yes, Tu-chan. I think I do, Naruto said as he slowly nodded his head. You have an admirable dream, Naruto. You know, most kids your age would say they want to become strong for their own sake. But, to become strong to protect someone else is one of the wisest traits a person can portray, Minato said with a smile. Naruto was really glad to have his Tuchan with him. He loved how his father could make him feel happy all the time. He went and hugged Minato tightly for a few seconds, enjoying being in his presence. When they parted, Minato made Naruto sit on his lap and said, "Naru, the life of a shinobi is never easy. It is full of sacrifices, hardships, hatred, and you must do lots of things which you, yourself may feel is wrong. My sensei once told me, a shinobi is one who stands firm and endures. I will teach you everything I know about being a shinobi, but at the end it is up to you, how you make use of that teaching, okay? Hi Tuchan. Now can we get started please?" he asked a bit impatiently. Minato inwardly smiled seeing his son so happy on the prospect of being a shinobi. How much ever smart he may seem, Naru was still a kid right now. I wish you were here to see our son grow up, Kushina. I promise, I will always stand by your side no matter what happens, my little Naru. Yes. I know. Calm down, Naru. Get up and follow me now, okay? Minato asked, getting a nod from the young boy. Naruto followed his father to a small pond a few distances away from the sakura tree. He saw his father sitting down cross-legged and he too sat down in the same position facing Minato. Naru. Listen closely to me from now, alright? Minato said and saw Naruto nod his head. Today, we are going to unlock your chakra. In our world, essentially everything contains chakra. Starting from humans, to animals, and even trees and plants. Chakra is a form of life energy, and those who run out of chakra eventually die. Chakra is produced within chakra coils that mainly surround and connect to each organ that produces chakra. Shinobi generate and release it outside their bodies through pressure points which are called tenketsu points. Minato paused in between to look at Naruto and found him to be listening to him intently. Did you understand what I said up till now? Minato asked. Hi Tuchan. Naruto said. Minato was about to continue when he saw a questioning look on his son's face. Naru? Do you have a question? Tuchan. You once told me, since you are the Hokage, you have the most chakra in the village. So, does that mean you also have more tenketsu points than the others? Naruto asked. Minato smiled a bit seeing Naruto question. He remembered how he used to question his father when he started teaching him the ways of molding chakra in his early years after his mother's unfortunate death. No, Naru. Every person has a fixed number of tenketsu points, which is 361. When a person trains for years and conserves chakra, their chakra coils tend to expand, thus increasing that person's chakra reserves. Some people are born with more chakra while some with comparatively less. People belonging to shinobi family are born with fairly larger chakra than those in civilian family. Minato looked at his son again and saw him not understanding that Naruto followed his words. Now, we will try and unlock your chakra, he said, and Naruto smiled with excitement visible in his eyes. Now Naru, relax your body and put the palms of both your hands together and hold it in front of your chest and close your eyes. Keep focus on yourself and nothing else, okay? Try and find a warm pull in your body. Minato said and saw Naruto sitting in the instructed position and closing his eyes. It had been about 10 minutes that Naruto was sitting in the same position with his hands clasped in front of him. I wonder if he's going to unlock it in his first try. It's very rare but not impossible, thought Minato as he saw his son concentrate. Meanwhile, Naruto's breathing had become light and his mind in a perfect state of calmness. He searched deep within his body for a warm thing and saw a bluish-purple light. He instantly pulled out his hands and grabbed it. Minato was thinking along those lines when there was a sudden burst of immense purple chakra from Naruto, creating spider web cracks on the ground they were sitting on. Minato's eyes widened on seeing the grounds crack around him and Naruto. He saw how wildly the chakra flowed and swirled around Naruto's body. So much of chakra and such density at such a young age. Incredible! The chakra output continued for a while, and soon Naruto opened his eyes, seeing his father looking at him with widened eyes. He felt so incredible now. He could sense his father's chakra in front of him and was amazed at how large it was. He could also pinpoint 2 people standing on the east side of his house. Must be those shinobi working specially for Tuchan, he thought. I did it, Tuchan, he whispered in a tired voice. He smiled, seeing his father's stupefied expression, and tried standing up. He put his hands on the ground and stood up with shaky legs. As soon as he took 2 steps forward, his vision became a bit hazy and he started falling towards the ground. Minato quickly stood up from his sitting position and moved to catch Naruto before he fell. I'm proud of you, Naru. You must be tired now, huh? Minato asked, getting a weak nod from Naruto. He placed him in his arms safely and felt him fall asleep immediately. He brushed his hair softly once and heard him release a content sigh. There's no doubt in my mind, you will go on to achieve great things, my son. Whatever path you shall choose in life, just know I will always be there by your side, he whispered softly. Minato then took Naruto inside the house and laid him gently on the sofa of the living room. Sleep well, Naru, Minato said as he kissed his forehead once. He then looked at the clock and saw it was around 4:30 in the afternoon. I should get done with some of my paperwork. I will take Naru for ramen at night, Minato thought as he made his way to his office inside the house. Few hours later. It was around 8 at night that Naruto began to slowly open his eyes. He rubbed his eyes once to get adjusted to the light in the room. He realized he must have fallen asleep right after he unlocked his chakra. He looked around the room and saw he was on the couch in the living room. Tuchan must have put me here, he thought. He got up from the couch and folded the blanket and kept it aside. He walked towards the kitchen to see it was empty. Naruto remembered how he could pinpoint the location of the 2 ANBUs who were standing just outside his house and sensed the amount of chakra his father possessed. So, he closed his eyes and tried finding his father's chakra. Ah! He's there in the office room, Naruto thought with a smile. He immediately opened his eyes and made his way upstairs to his father. Minato was busy doing his paperwork when he heard the door open and looked up to see his son. Naru? When did you wake up? Minato asked. Tuchan. I'm hungry. Can we have dinner now? Naruto blurted out immediately. He then rubbed his head sheepishly. Just give me a few minutes, okay? We'll go out to Ichirako Ramen. Naruto smiled upon hearing his father say that and ran to his room to get dressed. So much of useless paperwork. I don't know if it ever gets over, Minato cursed. For the past few hours all he had been doing was sit on this chair and sign away the papers. Most of it was requests made for random tasks by the civilians. He realized just thinking about it wouldn't get his job done any faster. He went through the remaining documents on his desk to check if anything required his immediate attention and then made a kage bunshin with no hand sign and ordered it to finish rest of the paperwork. The clone gave Minato a glare and begrudgingly got to doing the work. Meanwhile, Minato walked out of the room with a smirk thinking, "Ha! I doubt anyone ever thought about using clones to get the job done faster." Even though Minato could have used the kage bunshins to do the work the entire time, he only used it when he had other important things to do. Most of the time, he had to go through the papers himself in case it was an important document. Minato went down towards the main door to see Naruto waiting there quite impatiently. It still amused him how much his son loved ramen. It was among the few things which could make his son act his own age. "Ready to go, Naru?" he asked, looking at Naruto. "Hi, Tuchan. Come on, let's hurry up," Naruto exclaimed. He held onto his father's hand and both walked out of the house towards the only ramen store in Kanahagakure no Sato. It was a cold night in the village hidden in the leaves. It was the month of November and snow was yet to fall. There was a strong wind blowing, because of which most of the civilians were already inside their house. There were several ANBU as well as normal shinobi were strolling the streets of the village. Most of the clan houses were on the outskirts of the village, which seemed quite desolate at nights. The namikaze compound was on the far east side of the village near the Uchiha compound. Even though several questions regarding to move the Uchiha clan further away from their original place was raised after the Kyuubi attack, Minato dissolved any further discussions on the matter with an absolute no. Even if Minato wasn't raised by the Uchiha clan or did not abide by their laws, he was still born an Uchiha. He may not like some people of the clan, but they were still part of Konoha and he wouldn't want to watch them get isolated from the village integrity or be moved from the grounds where they have lived since the founding days of the village. Minato and Naruto walked out of the namikaze compound and made their way towards the shop. Along the way, the father and son duo made ideal talks about what they will be doing tomorrow and certain points about Naruto's start of training. It was mostly Naruto doing the talking and Minato listening to his 4-year-old boy talk. Naruto himself felt slightly excited at the prospect of becoming a shinobi. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he knew he could do it. He wanted to become powerful. He had heard stories of his grandfather's battle prowess and it captivated him to think someone so powerful could ever exist. It may be childish to think, but he did promise himself, "I will become stronger than anyone this world has ever seen." Unconsciously, he gripped his father's hand tighter. Minato noticed his son's face as they were nearing the shop and saw how calm he looked as his tilted head gazed at the night sky. "I wish you were here to see him, Kushina," he thought. Both the father and son were brought out of their thoughts as they realized they had reached the ramen shop. "Hokage-sama." "Naruto-kun," said both Tochi and Ayam as they saw Minato and Naruto come inside the shop. The father and son then took a seat as they greeted the two ramen store owners. "Tochi and Ayam, how many times have I told you not to call me with formalities? You guys have known me for years," Minato said. "It's only the right thing to do, Hokage-sama," said Tochi with a sly grin. Minato sighed knowing it wouldn't do any good. Ayam looked at Naruto and asked, "Naruto-kun, what would you have today?" "The same as always?" Naruto nodded quickly as he was starting to get really hungry. "I will have the same as Naru, Ayam." "So, make it 2 miso ramen," Minato added. The two chefs went inside the kitchen and started making the food. After a few minutes, Ayam came out with 2 steaming hot bowls of ramen and kept it in front of Minato and Naruto. Naruto inhaled the delicious aroma of the food and started gulping it down and finished it in a matter of few seconds. Minato, who was watching him eat, sweat dropped at how quickly his son finished it. He definitely got his ramen addiction and table manners from Kushina, Minato thought. Minato too finished his bowl in the next few minutes and the pair left the store back to their house after bidding the two chefs goodnight for the night. Itachi Uchiha, a 9-year black-haired boy and the eldest son of the current Uchiha clan head. Regarded as the genius of the Uchiha clan, he graduated from the Shinobi Academy of the village within a year at top of his class. But one of the main things that made the boy so special was the fact that he had awakened the Sharingan at the mere age of 7. Many from the Uchiha clan as well as the village had great expectations from the boy. Even though Itachi was subjugated to so much praise from everyone, he never let any of it get to his head. He was among very few humble shinobi within the clan. He was kind and gentle, something which a small part of the Uchiha clan members disliked but did not say anything, for he was the son of the clan head. He became a genin at the age of 7 and soon enough the next year he was promoted to chunin during the chunin exams held in Kumogakure no Sato. He was returning from his border patrol duty when he saw the Hokage and his son walking back towards their home. Seeing as he was going back home too, he decided to walk with them. He jumped down from the tree he was standing on and started to make his way towards them when he saw Naruto stop suddenly and look at his direction. His eyes widened a bit at that. As Minato and Naruto were walking back home, Minato saw Naruto abruptly stop and look behind him. Minato, confused for a while, was about to speak when he felt a presence approach them. Soon enough, he saw Itachi walking towards them in his shinobi gear. Minato looked at his son with surprising eyes. A sensor? His sensing ability has to be extremely great to able to sense Itachi. Minato then looked at Itachi and said, "Itachi, coming back from the border patrol, I presume?" "Yes, Hokage-sama. I was relieved from my duty by Shisui," Itachi replied politely. He then looked at Naruto with his ever so calm and stoic face as he thought about the incident a few minutes ago. "This is my son, Naruto Namikaze. I believe you have met him before, have you not?" Minato asked as he saw Itachi staring at Naruto. Itachi looked at Minato and nodded. "I have seen him a few times walking around the village by himself. But not that often. Although my mother did tell me a lot about Naruto-kun." Even though Itachi and Sasuke have both visited the Namikaze estate along with their parents on many occasions, Naruto often stayed inside his room reading books on various shinobi lands and the history of ninjutsu. So, it was only Makoto who went up to Naruto's room to have a talk with him while Fugaku and his son sat downstairs in the living room with Minato. "Hokage-sama? What is Naruto-kun's age?" Itachi asked. Minato raised an eyebrow upon hearing the question, but had a suspicion as to what it was about. "He's 4 years and a month now." Naruto, who was standing beside his father, just kept quiet all this time and stared at the boy who was talking to his Tuchan. He knew who Itachi was as he had seen him at his house on many occasions and has heard several shinobi talking about the Uchiha prodigy. Itachi's eyes again widened upon hearing that. To have such great sensing abilities at such a young age. "I know my chakra was kept suppressed." Minato saw Itachi's shocked look for a second and knew what he was thinking. "He's quite special, Hokage-sama. It's already surprising to see a 4-year-old boy to have unlocked his chakra," Itachi said as he saw Naruto smile at his comment. Minato nodded as he glanced at his son from where he was standing. "How is little Sasuke doing, Itachi?" "He's doing well, Hokage-sama. In fact, he will be starting his ninja training soon." He looked at Naruto for a second and turned his gaze back to Minato and thought over a matter. "Maybe I should bring Sasuke to meet with Naruto-kun over at your place someday later? They could become good friends with each other and could possibly develop a friendly rivalry," Itachi said. Minato knew Naruto did not have many friends his age. He would often take him to the park, but most he did was talk a few lines with other children. He asked him the reason on many occasions, but all he got for a reply was, "I don't know, Tuchan. They all just look at me like I'm different." It made him sad knowing how his son was treated in the village by the civilians and shinobis who lost their families on that night. But there was very little he could do to make an entire village get over the grief and loss they faced 4 years ago. Thus, his face formed a smile upon hearing the prospect of Naruto meeting someone his age and befriending him. "Will he also look at me differently like the other people?" It was Naruto who spoke. Both Itachi and Minato could note the tiny glimpse of sadness in his voice. Surprisingly, Itachi bent down to Naruto's eye level and grasped his shoulders firmly with both his hands and said, "No, Naruto-kun. Sasuke wouldn't look at you that way. Also, it shouldn't matter what others think of you. They don't know you personally and you don't know them personally. You are special, Naruto-kun. You have a power within you, which others don't. People don't understand what they don't know and tend to fear it. So, do not make that face." Naruto was a bit surprised on hearing that. He looked at his father and saw him smile. He turned to Itachi with a small smile and said, "Thank you, Itachi-san." Itachi got up from his position and looked up at the sky to see the moon's position. "It's getting quite late, Hokage-sama. I should probably leave now. Apologizes to keep you occupied for so long," he said. "It's no problem, Itachi. Tell Fugaku and Makoto to come to our house sometime too, Minato said. Naruto felt happy that he would get to meet Makoto again. He remembered how the nice lady used to come and talk to him. Many of the books which he has now were gifted to him by his auntie. Of course, Hokage-sama. Itachi then looked at Naruto and said, "It was good meeting you, Naruto-kun. I will come along with Sasuke sometime later to meet with you again." He bowed to Minato once and disappeared in a swirl of leaves to his home. That was such a cool technique. "Two-chan, do you think you can teach me that?" Naruto asked excitedly. Minato smiled seeing his son's reaction and just settled for nodding. He took Naruto's hand in his own and they walked back towards the namikaze compound. Next day, namikaze compound, Kanahagakure no Sato. He could feel it. He could feel everything around him and it was mesmerizing. Naruto sat at the back gardens of his compound in a lotus position and was meditating. His face a picture of perfect calmness. His two-chan told him this morning that meditation was necessary for a shinobi. It helped one keep calm and their head clear of stray thoughts. Especially, it made one aware of their surroundings. So, it's been around an hour that Naruto's been sitting in a lotus position. The village had a calm breeze blowing through it. Naruto's jaw-length bangs flowed with the breeze calmly. Naruto himself felt at extreme peace. He could feel his surroundings. He could feel the people's emotions. He understood them. It made him happy how peaceful the village was. He could feel chakra. The chakra flowing in the world. In the trees. In the air. In the animals. In the lake, in his garden. It's everywhere, he thought, giddy with excitement. He never felt so wonderful before. It felt so pure. More so than his own chakra. It felt so fresh. It was filled with life energy. He wanted to feel it. So, he reached out for it and let it enter his body. He immediately felt refreshed and was in sync with the world. He smiled. He couldn't describe the feeling. It was omnipotent. His senses were even more heightened now. Unknown to Naruto, his entire body was covered in chakra. A brilliant shade of purple. He was radiating so much life energy around him. The flowers were blooming. The grass and trees were growing at a rapid pace. The birds were chirping. The squirrels were now surrounding nearby him. It was a picturesque sight. In one word, it was aesthetic. His chakra was so warm and welcoming that it was felt by everyone. Naruto's chakra covered the entire village in a thin blanket of calmness. It felt as bright as the sun. Every civilian and shinobi alike felt it and immediately stopped what they were doing. They did not know what it was, but they could feel it was powerful and commanding. Yet, instead of making them fall on their knees, it made them feel rejuvenated. It was touching every part of their body, every cell in it, and they could feel how incredible it was. Minato and Kakashi, who were there inside the Hokage's office, felt it too. Both knew the chakra signature and grew slightly worried as to why he was releasing such copious amounts of chakra. Minato immediately held Kakashi and disappeared to the namikaze compound in a yellow flash. Minato and Kakashi quickly made their way towards the gardens, and when they reached, their eyes widened at the sight in front of them. Naruto was creating nature. Minato activated his Sharingan and Kakashi pulled his headband up to see what exactly it was that Naruto was doing. Say, son. Sensei. Naruto, he's pulling chakra from the nature around him. Isn't that? Kakashi said while not being able to comprehend whether what he was seeing was true or not. Minato was in no different position. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. His son, only 4 years old, was doing something neither Jiraiya nor he could master completely, even after years of training. Senjutsu. Yes, Kakashi. Naruto is using senjutsu. Minato said in a whisper. Naruto, who was yet to move from his position, had felt his father and Kakashi the moment they had arrived here. He decided to test something out which was there in his mind. He willed a part of his chakra around him to form into a hand and waved at the two shinobi present. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and the intake of chakra from the nature into his body stopped. The chakra swirling around his body, too, receded back. He looked at his Tuchan and his Nii-chan and saw their incredulous faces. He gave them a questioning look, signifying them that he had idea what he did just now. Minato glanced towards Kakashi once and both the Hokage and the ANBU captain moved towards the 4-year-old child. "Naru? What were you doing just now?" Minato asked in a kind voice. Kakashi stood beside his sensei and gave his brother-like figure one of his eye smiles and a wave of his hands. "Oh, that. I was feeling chakra Tuchan. It felt so amazing. I could feel chakra everywhere. It felt like a never-ending thing. I could also feel everyone in the village. Even you and Kakashi and Nii-chan. It's like I knew where everyone was. What their emotions were," Naruto said in an excited voice while the two shinobi just listened with dumbfounded expressions. Naruto folded his hands over his chest and seemed to think over something for a while and gave a wide smile. "I know. I felt like I could communicate with nature. Yes, that's it. Isn't that cool, Tuchan? Kakashi and Nii-chan?" In all their experiences, they had never come across anything such as this. Had someone told them that a 4-year-old child could use senjutsu effortlessly, they would have just laughed at them. However, witnessing Naruto do it right in front of them, they found the words stuck in their mouth. It should be inconceivable, yet the proof was right in front of their eyes. Minato soon got out of his stupor and bent to Naruto's eye level. "Yes, that is indeed amazing, Naru. But do you have an idea as to how you did it just now?" "Well, I was just meditating as you told me in the morning and then I could just feel the chakra around myself. It felt so pure and different than my own that I felt inclined to touch it. Then, I just let it enter my body," Naruto said with a wide smile. "You really have no idea what you just did, Naruto," both Minato and Kakashi thought. "Naruto, what you were doing right now was using senjutsu. The chakra present in the nature or in general the chakra present in the atmosphere of the world is called nature chakra or senjutsu chakra. Not everyone can do this, Naruto. It's a very difficult aspect to master. Jiraiya-sama and Minato-sensei are the only one that I know of who can do it. And I'm sure, even they took some time to grasp senjutsu." Kakashi spoke seriously. Naruto's eyes widened greatly, understanding the implications of Kakashi's words, and couldn't help but smile. He didn't boast himself for doing something incredible. Instead, he was merely glad he had something more in common with his Tuchan and Jiraiya Aji-chan. Meanwhile, Minato looked at his son with nothing but pride in his eyes. He remembered the prophecy his sensei once told him about a blue-eyed boy who would change the world for the better, and somehow he knew it was his Naru. After what he witnessed his son do today, he had to be, and he was going to make sure he would stay by his son's side through it all. The yondaime got up from his crouched position and motioned for Naruto to get up too. "Come on, Naruto, let's get back inside the house. You could go to Ichiraku Ramen for lunch. You must be hungry after what you did just now," Minato said as Naruto, Kakashi, and he made their way inside the house. "Aha!" Naruto said, nodding his head vigorously. The moment the three reached inside the house, Naruto said goodbye to his father and Kakashi and ran to Ichiraku Ramen stand to have his favorite meal. Minato and Kakashi couldn't help but laugh a bit at his enthusiasm towards eating ramen. Unknown to all three of them as of now, Naruto's hand had pulsed softly earlier, engraving two images on his hands that would change the future drastically. The sun mark on his right hand and the half-crescent moon mark on his left hand. "Sensei?" Kakashi asked, gaining Minato's attention. Seeing the look on his student's face, he understood what he was meaning to ask. I know Kakashi. His chakra was felt by everyone within the village. No doubt there's going to be a council meeting regarding this soon, he said. His voice showed that he was not too happy about it. What are you going to do, sensei? Are you going to tell them the truth? We should also inform Jiraiya-sama about this as soon as possible, Kakashi said. I don't know yet, Kakashi. I should discuss matters with Jiraiya-sensei and the Toad summons first before I reach any conclusion. Naruto's innate ability to use senjutsu baffles even me. I have never seen anything like this before, Minato said as he exhaled a deep sigh. This was a serious matter. One that could have untold implications on the elemental nations. Kakashi nodded, deciding not to say anything more. Both shinobi exited the namikaze compound and went back to the Hokage Tower. Minato to do his accursed paperwork, and Kakashi to read and giggle over his perverted little orange book. 2 months later, Jiraiya had arrived within the village in the next 2 days to meet with the two namikaze as soon as he had received a message from one of his Toad summons regarding Naruto's ability to use senjutsu. Minato had written a detailed message to the Gamma Sennin about what he had felt and what he had seen Naruto do. To say Jiraiya was shocked would be an understatement. When he had witnessed his godson utilizing senjutsu chakra, he just couldn't believe his eyes. It shouldn't be possible. Yet, he knew his eyes and his years of training in senjutsu was not deceiving him. However, instead of denying what was right in front of his eyes, it just made his belief stronger that his godson was the one. The sun and half-crescent moon mark on Naruto's hands were noticed by both Minato and Jiraiya when they got down to teaching him the intricacies of senjutsu. Naruto himself did not know what these marks represented, but he could feel that the sun represented his brighter chakra whereas the moon represented his darker one. Upon hearing that, Minato theorized Naruto's yang chakra was represented by the sun and his yin chakra was represented by the half-crescent moon. It was surprising for the two Kage-level shinobi as to why it was that Naruto had those marks. Every person has chakra, even civilians, and chakra is made of two halves, that is yin and yang. They balance each other always. So, for Naruto to manifest his yin and yang chakra in such a way made them believe that his chakra was somehow special compared to rest of the humans. Soon after that, Naruto was introduced to the Toad summons. He was extremely excited that he would get to use the same summons like his Tuchan and Jiraiya Aji-chan. For a few days, a week, Naruto would usually spend time either with his father or the Toads at Mount Mayaboku to further delve into the complicities of senjutsu. Jiraiya, being a spy master, rarely spent a lot of time in village. His information gathering was important for the village. While training Naruto, it was also noted that the blonde had exceptional control over his chakra. When he was given the tree walking exercise, it took Naruto merely about half an hour to get it done. With the water walking exercise, it took the blonde slightly longer, but he had completed it in record time, stunning the Yondaime and the Sharingan no Kakashi. Later, he was introduced to more advanced chakra control exercises, such as kunai balancing, separating different colors of sand particles from a mixture in less than 10 seconds, and they were left astonished since Naruto completed those exercises in not even less than 2 days. Tsunade Senju, daughter of Hashirama Senju and Mito Uzumaki and one of the Densetsu no Sannin, is hailed as the greatest medical ninja of this era. Her chakra control is something which can only be aspired and dreamt of by others. Yet, Naruto, a 4-year-old boy, had such great control over his chakra it was deemed to be on par with Tsunade. And as Naruto grows up, it would only get better. Naruto was literally a sponge. Everything that was taught to him, he soaked it up immediately. It was astonishing and slightly scary, the rate at which he was picking up things which should not be possible. In the past 2 months, Naruto had already mastered several of the lower-level jutsu that was taught to him. Some of them being henge, transformation, kawirami, substitution, sunshin no jutsu, teleportation jutsu, and a variation of the bunshin no jutsu, clone jutsu, called kage bunshin no jutsu, shadow clone jutsu. The kage bunshin no jutsu was a kenjutsu which was created by the Nidaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sado. This jutsu divides the caster's chakra in the number of clones the caster wishes to create. While it was not an issue for Naruto to make a normal bunshin, he was mainly taught the jutsu as it had more practical uses on the battlefield as well as while training. Seeing as how Naruto had exceptional chakra control, he was also introduced to few beginner medical ninjutsu, such as Shoshinjutsu, mystical palm technique. Kakashi and Minato were hailed as the greatest prodigies ever of their time. Seeing Naruto train often left them wondering how much of a prodigy they were. Their latent talent was nothing compared to the little boy. Naruto was on his way to become a shinobi, the likes of which were never seen in history. Seeing Naruto's growth rate and his talent, Kakashi had suggested Minato to put Naruto in ANBU to better utilize his skills. That was a mistake. Minato had outright disregarded the idea. He reasoned his son may be different from the other children his age, but he deserved to have a normal childhood for as long as possible. Minato was not going to throw his only son in a world of bloodshed so early in his life. It was a warm sunny day in Kanahagakure no Sato. It was around 1 in the afternoon and the market streets of the village were bustling with activity. There were people going in and out of shops, either purchasing materials for themselves or pawning their personal items for some money. The shinobi were jumping over the rooftops, either going to complete their missions or towards the Hokage Tower to receive more missions. Naruto had just finished having some food at the ramen stand after his morning workout and was heading towards one of the secluded area within the forests for some more training. Minato and Kakashi had told Naruto that he had to get his physique in shape for the taijutsu katas that he was learning from the scroll given to him by his Tuchan. The scroll contained the interceptor fist, the taijutsu style used by Madara Uchiha. It relied on fast reflexes and studying the opponent's movements first and reacting to them in a quick span of time. While for most Uchiha, their Sharingan is an integral part in their taijutsu moves, Naruto is taught to consider the Sharingan as merely an accessory tool. The Sharingan is only supposed to decipher the subtle movements and give an edge in hand-to-hand combat. But if one can do that without the use of the Sharingan, it gives one much greater reflexes while using it. Every morning, Naruto would wake up and do 15 laps around the namikaze compound. From there he moved to 50 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 50 pull-ups and ended with 100 punches and kicks on a training dummy placed in the training grounds inside his compound. Every week he would add 5 laps more and 50 more to each of the exercise. He had gotten the inspiration from Kakashi when he told Naruto that he used to do similar exercises when he began his ninja training, which was around the same time as the blonde boy. So currently, Naruto was walking towards the forested area behind one of the playgrounds near the Hokage Tower when he heard a girl crying. Few minutes earlier, Sakura Haruno, a 4-year-old girl, was an aspiring ninja. Both her parents were veteran shinobi who could not pursue their shinobi career after the Third Great Ninja War. Her father, Kazashi Haruno, was an above-average shinobi who was extremely adept in using genjutsu, while her mother, Mabuki Haruno, was a medical ninja. Ever since she had known, she loved to read books. She often went to the Konoha library and borrowed books regarding basic medical knowledge, shinobi life and the history of elemental nations from the civilian sections. Being more of a book nerd, Sakura had yet to start any physical training. Today, she was returning from library after borrowing books which spoke about the granddaughter of the Shodai Hokage, Tsunade Senju, and how she brought about a revolutionary change in the field of medicine. It was a warm afternoon today, so she decided to take a longer route and go through the park near the Hokage monument. As she was walking back to her home, she didn't realize that there were several boys few years older than her who were looking at her funny and making fun of her huge forehead and bright pink hair. One of the boys went behind her back and pushed her down. Sakura screamed lightly as she fell quite uncharacteristically. The book she was holding lay beside her and her hair had become a mess. "Look at your huge forehead. It's bigger than your head." "Ha ha. What a weird girl," said the boy who had pushed her down as he laughed. The 2 other boys who were there with him joined him and also started laughing at the pink-haired girl. Even though Sakura was quite self-conscious about her forehead, she tried not to let it get to her when someone made fun of her. So just like most of the time, she ignored the bullies and went to reach for her book, which was lying beside her. Just when she was about to reach it, the second boy snatched it and read the title out loud. General Medical Knowledge Tsunade Senju. Read the boy out loud. Gee, give me my book back, whimpered Sakura under the fierce gaze of the boys in front of her. He then looked at her as if she was a freak and mocked her by saying, "So, you want to become a ninja? How would you ever become one with such big forehead and that ugly pink hair? I mean, who even has pink hair?" It's just plain weird, he smirked when he saw her eyes became a bit wet and started crying slowly. He threw the book at her, which hit her arm. Sakura, who was down on the ground, picked up her book slowly, only wished someone came to help her. She just didn't know how close her help was. With Naruto. He moved closer towards the sound and saw a small girl around his age with hair a bright color of pink and holding a green-colored book in her hands. He noticed she had an above-average size forehead, but found it cute for some reason. Then he scowled a bit, seeing as there were 3 boys obviously elder than her and they bullying her. He immediately rushed towards the girl and stood in front defiantly. The 3 boys were a bit surprised at seeing the blonde. They didn't even see him come. "Oi! What do you think you're doing? Move away from her," Naruto said a bit coldly. Sakura looked at the boy who stood before her and her eyes widened. The boys flinched a bit hearing his voice but didn't move, however. The boy who had pushed Sakura down stepped forward and said, "Who do you think you are? You can't just boss us around. Look at that freak anyway. Ugly hair and forehead." For reasons unknown to Naruto, he felt angry hearing the boy call her freak. He remembered how he felt when the villagers often whispered demon, monster, traitor and words such as that when he walked around the village. He didn't want anyone else to feel like that. Through his negative emotion sensing, he understood how the girl felt. Scared. Weak. And it made the blonde furious. He brought his index and middle finger of his right hand joined together before his face and willed for Kage Bunshin into existence. Naruto could feel the shock in the 3 boys' minds and how afraid they felt as of now. He smiled inwardly when he felt the girl feeling hopeful. Sakura could only watch and wonder as the blonde boy before her, who was most likely the same age as her, performed ninjutsu so easily. "I'm Naruto Namikaze. Now leave, before I make you," he said in a commanding voice. Sakura's and the 3 boys' eyes widened, learning that the blonde was the Yondaime Hokage's son. The boys took a few steps back in fear, immediately turned back and ran as fast as they could from the blonde and the girl. Naruto felt proud that he could scare away the bullies from the innocent girl. Remembering about the girl, he turned around to see the girl staring at her in amazement and admiration. Naruto saw the book the girl was carrying on the ground and picked it up. He dusted it off and handed the book back to the girl, who gave him a small smile. He saw how her cheeks were slightly red, but thought that she must be feeling quite hot. "Are you okay?" asked Naruto in a kind voice. Hi," Sakura said, blushing a bit. "You know, medical ninjutsu is pretty cool. I'm learning a bit myself with my Tuchan's help," Naruto exclaimed. Sakura knew not many children her age found interest in medical field, so it was surprising for her to hear Naruto say that. Realizing that he didn't know her name yet, he asked her, "Well, what is your name?" Sakura looked at his face and how his blonde hair fell over his forehead and covered his right eye. Sakura broke out of her gaze, realizing that she was staring at him. "Sakura Haruno," the girl replied hastily. She felt her cheeks turn a bit red and immediately ran back to her house. Naruto was extremely confused at the girl's attitude. He could feel the girl didn't have any feelings of detestation or fearfulness towards him and ran away because she was feeling extremely shy. He just shrugged his shoulders and decided to go back home instead of more training. 1 year later, Naruto stood in a clearing deep within the forests of Konohagakure no Sato, on the west side of the village. It was early afternoon and no one was around currently. Naruto stared at a tall thick tree he had picked. From what I remember thinking earlier, I must transfer considerable amount of chakra in my fist and hold it there. Naruto inhaled deeply and calmed his breathing. If I'm correct, I can make my chakra take the form of a larger fist over my hand and then use it as a large-scale attack. Naruto brought his hand up perpendicular to his body and closed it, forming a fist. He closed his eyes to concentrate. He then let the natural energy flowing in the world enter his body swiftly and started feeling the flow of his chakra in his body. He willed some of it to concentrate over his hand. He started visualizing what he wanted, and suddenly large amounts of potent purple chakra started manifesting around Naruto's arms. The chakra took the shape of a large arm around Naruto's own small arm, and he smiled. For the past few hours, he had been thinking about a taijutsu technique that could be used as a large-scale attack. He had the idea in his mind, but couldn't execute it properly. He closed his hand into a fist, and the chakra-manifested arm too folded its hand to form a fist. Naruto pulled his arm back and thrust it forward in a quick pace. What happened next came as a surprise to him, although it did make him smile at the result. The moment the chakra arm contacted the tree, it broke into several pieces, and some of it flew back several hundred yards and formed a narrow crater along the path of the flying tree. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly with his free hand and thought, I might need to use less chakra next time I plan to use this. He looked up at sky and saw that it was only afternoon. He decided to just lay down with his eyes closed and rest for a while after so much thinking and training. A few hours later, a black-haired boy sat on the branches of a high tree. His hair was wild and spiky and wore high-collared black shirt. His eyes were looking at the resting form of one Naruto namikaze. His black onyx eyes then scanned the area around the blonde carefully to search for anything out of place. He looked up to the sky for a few seconds. It will be sunset soon. He had been ordered by the Hokage to keep an eye on his son for the entire coming week. This was due to several Iwagakure shinobi still lurking around the borders of the Land of Fire. It was dangerous for Naruto to be alone, especially near the borders of the village. Hence, the 5-year-old blonde was given a shinobi to guard him as a precaution, even though Naruto was capable enough of handling several high-skilled shinobi on his own. The Iwagakure shinobi were another matter that surfaced in the past few months. Apparently, several missing ninjas from Iwagakure were spotted on the borders between the Land of Grass and the Land of Fire. A few of them were killed by the ANBU patrolling the borders as a sign of warning, yet more kept invading the borders. Even though the shinobi were portraying themselves as missing ninjas, Minato was wary and skeptical of them. He wouldn't put it past the stubborn Inoki to use underhanded tactics such as sending official IWA shinobi disguised as missing ninjas to invade Konoha and at the same time have the pathetic excuse for deniability. Minato and Iwagakure never got along well with each other. Before the start of the Third Shinobi World War, IWA had tried kidnapping his wife Kushina for the sole purpose of the Kyuubi. It enraged him that a village already having 2 bijou with them would try to steal one from another. He had killed off the shinobi involved in the incident during that time and had shown Iwagakure not to take Konohagakure lightly at the end of the Third Shinobi War. It was the Third Ninja War that gave rise to the Yellow Flash of Konoha, and the name still strikes fear in the shinobi of Iwagakure. The shinobi guarding the blonde looked back at Naruto eventually after his gaze left the evening sky. Let's see if the Yandane's legacy is as good as I was told. He took out 2 kunai from within his pouch and held them between his left hand's fingers. He looked towards Naruto once again and threw the kunai straight at him. When the 2 kunai smashed into the blonde boy resting on the ground, his eyes widened at the unexpected results. The Naruto that was lying on the ground disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Suddenly, he felt cold metal touch the base of his neck. Naruto, who was now standing behind the surprised shinobi, with the tip of his kunai touching his neck, asked in a serious tone, "Who are you, Shinobi-san?"